Welcome everyone. Tonight is a regular meeting of the Simsbury Board of Selectmen. It's April 6, 2022, 6 o'clock, and let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Oops. So we're going to start out tonight to recognize Autism Awareness Month. And I found out after the fact, you guys could correct me, but I read that it was changed from Autism Awareness Month to Autism Acceptance Month. But I did not know that when we wrote the proclamation. So we're going to use the old name, and next year we'll use the new name. One thing, I'm just looking for the, so a motion isn't here. Do I just make up a motion when?
Usually, did we not have it in there for you? I'm taking out one moment. Let me double check.
Oh, maybe it is here. Sorry, you guys. Oh, it is. Yes. It is. I'm sorry.
If you go to the cover,
it's been a long week
for you.
So we want to talk about autism awareness. We have a proclamation here that we're going to read, and we're going to. We're going to amend our motion to light up Eno in blue as we've done in the past. I did want to point out a couple things out here that some of the statistics. I think Shannon has helped me with these, but that 1 in 44 children have autism. And it's 4 times more likely in boys. And there's no, it's not tied to any socioeconomic or ethnicity. It can hit anyone, it hits any family. My brother, his sort of adopted son is doing very well. He's a teenager. He has a job in Chicago. He now lives on his own, and he's doing very well. I'm just saying, so he's something, it hits every family. And we have some Jack Knoll here. I don't know everybody else's name that's here, but what I'd like to do is read the proclamation first, and then we'll do the motion.
Public audience?
Oh, did I skip public audience? I did, sorry. Okay, public audience. Why didn't anybody stop me? Okay.
We're on a roll. I didn't know.
I was thinking something.
Maybe we do proclamations
Why
first.
don't we just finish that off because you've already teed it up.
Is that okay with you guys? Thank you. Thank you, Sean. So we're going to read the proclamation. We're going to see if anybody would like to say a few words. Then we're going to make the motion, and then we're going to go to public audience. Okay. So we're going to do a little. Someone made this joke last night that they did a responsive reading as Passover's coming. So what I want to do is start down with Chris, and each of us read a section of the proclamation, and then go from there. So anybody wants to weigh in and help me tonight, that's fine. So you're on, Chris.
Good evening. Proclamation Autism Awareness. Whereas autism is a developmental disability and public health crisis in the United States affecting millions of people that demands a national response and an increase in knowledge of the programs that have been and are being developed to support individuals with autism and their families. And
Whereas autism is the result of a neurological disorder that affects the normal functioning of the human brain and can affect anyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background. And
whereas symptoms and characteristics of autism may present themselves in a variety of combinations and can result in significant lifelong impairment of an individual's ability to learn, develop healthy and interactive behaviors, and understand verbal as well as nonverbal communications. And
whereas the effort to address autism continues, doctors, therapists, educators can help persons with autism overcome or adjust to its challenges and provide early, accurate diagnosis and the resulting appropriate education, intervention, and therapy that are vital to further growth and development. And
whereas ensuring that persons living with autism have access to the lifelong care and services needed to pursue the full measure of personal happiness and achieve their greatest potential. And
Eric, you in line here or no?
I got it.
Good.
Simsbury is honored to take part in the annual observance of Autism Awareness Month in the hope that it will lead to a better understanding of the disorder. And
therefore, I, Wendy Maxtutis, First Selectman, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Autism Awareness Month in Simsbury and call upon all of us to learn more about autism, to improve early diagnosis, to learn more about the experiences of autistic people from autistic people, and to build more welcoming and inclusive communities to support people with autism. In witness thereof, I have placed my seal on the Great Seal of the Town of Simsbury, dated the 6th of April, 2022. So let's do the proclamation, the motion, and then see if any of you guys want to say a couple words. If I can find it now. So I'm going to amend the motion to move effective April 6, 2022, to authorize myself, First Selectman Wendy Maxdudas, to issue a proclamation in support of Autism Awareness Month and to light up Eno Hall in blue for the month of April.
Move that.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so with that, Jack, do you want to say something?
Sure.
5 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
My name is Jack Knoll, an almost 21-year-old Simsbury resident on the autism spectrum. I would like to thank the Board of Selectmen for allowing me to speak at tonight's meeting. Autism Awareness Month is upon us, and now more than ever, awareness of this lifelong disorder is vital because you never know who you could run into who is autistic. When I was first diagnosed with autism at the tender age of 2, I would have never guessed how much that day would change not only my life, but the lives of the people I love. The doctors told my parents that I would never be able to do the things that normal kids could. For example, get a good education, make friends, and learn how to read and write. I am now pursuing a bachelor's degree in child study from the University of St. Joseph in West Hartford and plan to be an educator after college. I write emails to disability services at USJ every semester to ensure I get the help I need to succeed. It's important to have awareness about autism because it's more than what you see. It's about getting the rights to support you in. It's about getting the right supports in academic settings and finding a job and a place to live and being happy like everyone else. That's all I have to say. Thanks again for allowing me to speak. It's been an honor. I hope you continue to support people with autism.
Thanks, Jack. Here, Jack, we have a proclamation for you. And if anybody else is here that has a family member or has autism and they would like a copy of the proclamation, they're welcome to come up and get a copy. Thank you, Tom Fitzgerald, for printing those. If not, we will keep them ourselves. Okay, now, thank you. We will move on to the normally scheduled portion of the program and to start our public audience. Everybody has 5 minutes to speak. Alia, come on up.
I'm not as tall, so this works. So first of all, thank you for having me. The last few times I've had the opportunity to be here in front of you, I've been championing various DEI initiatives on behalf of our local LGBTQ community. I'm here to tell you about a new project that I'm really excited about, and I'm sure you will be as well. Before I get into it, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your support so far. The last few years, we've had a few great initiatives ranging from officially declaring June Pride Month to the art installation on the Greenway to raising the flag last year in commemoration of Pride Month. And those have all been really instrumental in making the LGBT community in town feel more visible, represented, and welcome. I know that not only because I've felt all of those things, but because countless others and their children have shared those feelings with me as well. The new project that we, the local community, business leaders, and allies have been working on is an LGBTQ-friendly business directory for our town businesses. The idea is a simple one. Businesses in the area can elect to join a directory by pledging that they believe inclusivity and diversity is good for business, and they pledge to be welcoming to all. The businesses would receive a locally designed window decal, small, removable, not a sticker, to display on their storefront or in their stores, to demonstrate their support for the community and their allyship, and be featured on the group's website and potentially partner with other organizations such as Main Street Partnership and the Chamber of Commerce. We have raised the money privately to fund this project and require no resources from the town. What I would like to invite the town to do, however, is to formally endorse this initiative. I and many other members of the community, some of which are here tonight to show their support, so thank you, agree that an LGBTQ-friendly business directory is good for local businesses, our residents, and the town. While this project is simple, it revolves around 3 impactful factors that truly make a difference: visibility, differentiation, and leadership, that have the power to make a difference not only for the town, but also our local businesses and owners, our local LGBTQ friends, neighbors, and their children. Visibility is what drives this initiative. I think I speak for all of us when I say that I'm proud of Simsbury. What this initiative would say to everyone who visits the town is that Simsbury is also proud of its LGBT residents. The decals on the local windows will serve as a visual reminder to local residents and visitors that we're a community who's willing to stand up for what's right year-round, not during just the month of June. Visibility is also good for businesses. By emphasizing through a tangible decal and a directory, local businesses have the option to opt in to stand up for their business values. This is good for business. Numerous studies have found that over the last few years, businesses who adopted visible LGBTQ-friendly policies generated more profit than those who did not. On that note, the option to be included in this initiative allows businesses to stand apart from others and differentiate themselves from others, both in the community and outside of it. Simsbury residents support local businesses fiercely, and this would allow residents another avenue to identify businesses who share their own values and have demonstrated their allyship. This is good for the community as well as those businesses. I would also like to emphasize that this is already happening in our community. In a survey I did really quickly of local businesses and their websites, many of them already offer up this information, saying that they're women-owned, minority-owned, even LGBTQ-owned. The list goes on. So what I'm proposing in this project is just to solidify those individual efforts into one directory, specifically for LGBTQ-friendly businesses, just as other groups are doing on a local, state, and national level for women-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, and et cetera. We also have the opportunity in this to lead as a role model. So other communities ranging from local communities to national communities are already doing these directories. Connecticut has the Connecticut Alliance for Business Opportunities, which was founded in 2007 and includes not only state businesses, but has grown to include national businesses who do business in Connecticut as well. There's many on the national level, as well as on the state level. We have the Connecticut Gay and Lesbian Chamber, the LGBTQ Strong Directory, and those are only the ones in Connecticut. You can even, I was just told this, opt in to have LGBTQ friendly on your Google business profile. So that's something that area businesses have done as well. What we're seeing now, though, is that there's a need for towns to establish their own directories because it emphasizes local small businesses through grassroots effort and creates more opportunities that way for residents as well as businesses. It's important to have a town level directory because it promotes the genuine connection to the local community, as well as creates an infinite possibility of opportunities for those participating in the network to...
1 minute. I just have to
man.
be fair. Sorry.
So I know I'm not alone in saying that this is the type of town that I would want others to live in, shop in, and be proud of to call home. The message that this project sends is that everyone who lives and visits Simsbury is that this is not only a strong business community, but it's a diverse one, and that it's a town that we're brave enough to stand beside our values visibly. This project is aligned with other projects that are being explored or underway in the town, as well as is aligned with values that have been expressed in the past through these other initiatives that you've taken part of before. Local businesses will be invited to join the directory this month, and the directory will be launched in June to commemorate Pride Month. On behalf of the local LGBTQ community and the allies who support this project, thank you for considering supporting this initiative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Joan?
Joan Code 26 Whitman Drive. At the March 28, 22 Board of Selectmen meeting, the business community addressed their concern with the town manager, Maria Capriola. Saturday, April 2nd, 2022, the Hartford Courant published an article, Dispute Rocks Simsbury Town Hall. The article was replete with inaccuracies, lies, and misinformation. Another article, April 3rd, 2022, revises the first article, complaint claims bad morale and favoritism at Town Hall. Can the Board of Selectmen ignore that there have been a continual filing of grievances describing violations of unfair labor practices? The Board of Selectmen have discussed these issues behind closed doors, but don't have the courage to address this toxic work environment in public. Employees are leaving on a daily basis, leaving vacancies in staff that create an undue pressure on the remaining few. The building department has a full-time position vacant since with a part-time employee, one full-time, one half-time building official with an increased workload, leaving undue pressure on the remaining staff. The planning department has 2 lower-level employees remaining, the code compliance officer and the land use specialist, with most of the workload going to the compliance officer until the town planner starts work on April 11, 2022. This leaves the position of deputy town planner unfulfilled, with the compliance officer training the town planner. The business community and the residents will not have a certified town planner until April 11th to answer questions on land use. The gap in services is staggering. Labor attorney costs are increasing year after year with the continual filing of grievances since the appointment of town manager Maria Capriola. Grievances are costly to the taxpayers, with hours spent on preparation and hearings that are lengthy and costly in labor attorney fees and staff attendance. A recent arbitration settlement was won by the union, with back pay awarded to the employees. Town employees did not receive a wage increase in years, while the Board of Selectmen continually approved a 6-figure salary with additional increases for Town Manager Maria Capriola. Prior to Town Manager Maria Capriola's appointment, there were no grievances from staff. Police Commissioner Mike Long wrote, quote, "As you are well aware, the disagreements between SBC, Simsbury Police Commissioner, and the Town Manager's office have existed almost from day one she was hired. With the implementation of the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between Town Manager Maria Capriola and the Police Commission, Commissioner Fleming resigned, stating he believes in the rule of law. When will the Board of Selectmen come to the realization that Town Manager Maria Capriola is a liability and can no longer serve the town effectively, and ask for her resignation? All the unions in Town Hall should vote no confidence in Town Manager Maria Capriola, as did the Police Department union for the Chief Bolton. The police department has changed from analog transmission to digital transmission. Most of the transmissions are garbled with contractors trying to tweak the system. Poor transmissions can lead to reduced response time or responses to wrong address. This is a public safety issue. Mental health issues have reached epidemic proportions with little or no access to immediate care. Increasing social workers with no therapeutic skills is the same political mechanism as slogan, "Just say no." The crisis in mental health affects students of all ages, families, and workplace.
1 minute, Joan.
The state allowed the package stores to become an essential business to sell alcohol during the pandemic, leading to more dependency on alcohol. The state has approved marijuana for recreation use and only has dependency on mind-altering addiction. Now it is legal to gamble, to create another issue, addiction. Members of the Board of Selectmen community have faced problems with addiction with families. Many families have been torn apart with dependency on drugs. Families have lost loved ones to addiction. All these scenarios cannot be cut with additional social workers.
30
The Board of
seconds.
Selectmen has been implicit in adding to alcohol addiction, allowing alcohol to be consumed in town, and I'll continue. It is alleged that town attorney Bob DeCrescenzo was reviewing the Eno Farms affordable housing compliance with the Eno Trust for the Poor and the compliance for all rents and income requirements to be adjusted for low and very low renters as stated in land records. All of my comments will be posted on Simsbury Pat, including some of the towns. I'm asking for an ordinance should be developed to prohibit the use of alcohol and marijuana on town property. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
I have to talk faster.
Good.
What about you?
I know, I'll cut you off. Okay, so the next up, we have a presentation on the Owens Brook Open Space Project.
Is there anybody?
Oh, is there anybody else here for, no, I didn't think so, thank you.
Town employees. Switch over.
I don't know.
You almost look like you're, you know,
I feel like I am
the jury. The jury.
When are you doing subcommittee reports? Is that after?
Yeah. Oh. Give me a second. Okay, you're up.
I had it earlier.
Well, tonight's kind of a fun and easy one, just kind of talk about a little project we did not too long ago. And I'm here with Kevin Clemens. You may remember from our budget meeting. Kevin is our highway superintendent. Usually he doesn't make these meetings. He's works early in the morning and late at night plowing snow. So the problem we were faced back in October was that our water pollution control staff discovered a failed slope near a culvert that serves Owens Brook. And for those of you who haven't taken a close look, Owens Brook Boulevard is named for the brook, which runs parallel to it. Not the most creative bit of street naming that we've ever done. They found this failure that completely blocked the culvert. So as Owens Brook came down, it basically ran into a pile of dirt and logs and debris and was luckily finding its way through the soil and into the culvert. And we had no confidence that if we had a large rain event, we wouldn't have significant flooding that could back up onto Owens Brook Boulevard. There was basically a 20-foot high near vertical slope that went from the edge of the brook right up to where there's the Meadowview apartments that you'll see in a couple of our slides as we go through. So we were certainly worried about supporting that parking lot if that slope continued to fail any further. Down trees, debris, just generally a real mess. It made it very hard to understand exactly what had failed and what the limits of the repair were going to be. We had a lot of town departments involved. It was a sewer easement, but it was not directly related to the sanitary sewer. It was an open space parcel plan. We had inland wetlands issues. Our engineering staff was involved. And we really just kind of had to come together as a team. Went one too far. This is kind of what we were faced with, and I can promise you the pictures really don't do a great deal of detail, but you can see here, this is the top of the failed slope, and this is just a pile of mess of trees and everything else that had fallen in. That fence was precariously close at the top of the slope. I actually walked around the back of that fence with the owners from the Udolph property. As soon as he came around the backside of that fence, first thing he was concerned about falling, and second thing he said, in terms of to the town, he wanted us to do whatever it took to get this fixed. You can sort of see, and it certainly doesn't show up too well here, but this is basically, when we climbed down below, this was the pooling water, and it was basically soaking into the fine sand and finding its way into that culvert. Once we brought in pumps and started to clear things away, we have this picture down here to the left, and again, we couldn't really find the end of the culvert. That was kind of where we began in trying to find out what's going to be the right fix for the situation. The yellow line in this picture is the sanitary sewer. And the sanitary sewer was installed basically across what I'm going to call a land bridge that was built as part of the Farmington Canal. That's actually the path that the Farmington Canal used to go. So they actually built a bridge to hold the water for the canal to go over Owens Brook. The blue lines represent where we could see Owens Brook flowing. And for the engineers amongst us, you can see very tight contours, which indicate a very steep slope. And that's right where the slope failure was. We knew we had to have emergency authorization. We notified this board. We came up with our best estimate at the time was $60,000. We went to Conservation Commission for emergency authorization, and at that point it was really time to get to work. I want to talk a little bit about the investigation and the fact we were just trying to figure out what we had to deal with there.
So you can see one of our fearless crew members, Dan, down in the left-hand corner. He's putting his hand where no hand has gone before. We knew what we had. You could kind of see the arch, as you can see the next picture. We built a raft to send the camera, the sewer treatment plant. That's one of their fearless gentlemen too. So they brought their camera, and we were able to take extensions, just like your snow rake or anything else, and you snap them together and keep going until we got to where real failure was, which the bottom picture is as far as we could get. That's just rubble. And the interesting thing is, as you can see where he's got the camera, it is the arch culvert is stone there. But we thought there was really a pipe in there. We didn't realize that this would be built out of stone. And talk about masonry and craftsmen. It's amazing. And when you date it back to the 30s, I think that's how they did it, even the hard way.
Yeah, even earlier than that. So now that we knew the culvert was failed, it kind of changed our approach. When we had originally looked at this, our first thought was that we were going to excavate near the failed slope. We were going to get back to where the culvert was in good condition, maybe put in a manhole, extend it out with pipe, soften the slopes back up, and head home. Once we realized that that entire length of stone culvert was collapsed, we certainly made the decision that we did not want to excavate through all of that material to replace the culvert with a new pipe right in the same location. The other thing that really came into play was how big should the culvert need to be? Whole lot of deep thought and in-depth engineering went into this, starting with the fact that the downstream culvert that goes underneath Route 10 was limited to 30 inches. Our design report said that the culvert wanted to be much larger than that, in theory, to hold the maximum flow for Owens Brook. Looking at the land that we have up there, and we've had some great historical photos, back in the 30s, there actually used to be a pond just upstream of this location. Really was an interesting part of this project to kind of learn some of the history. Understanding that, we made the decision to go with a relatively small 30-inch pipe culvert as our repair, so that if there was going to be any flooding, it would be upstream of this location where we have about 6 or 8 acres of wetland that if it was flooded, it would not have a detrimental effect. It wouldn't impact the roadway. And actually, Marjorie Winters came out with this and said, if it could flood on occasion, it's actually good and healthy for the wetland. By the way, for those of us who care a lot about finances, Sean, it was also less expensive than going with a very large pipe.
Now you're speaking my language.
Exactly. I know you were deep into the hydraulics, but the money is what wins you over. And then the other thing, it allowed us to keep that existing end wall, which did provide a level of historic character to the site, which I think really added a nice touch to the project.
I think that the nicest part is where it comes out of the new culvert and then kicks to the right or the left, whatever, and then sort of casts. There's a little bit
waterfall.
Drop there. There's a little waterfall.
I'm going to put the picnic table right there.
One interesting thing about the old culvert is that the water was finding its way through. So even we maintained the other end, the crumbled end, that in the event the 30-inch struggled a little bit and the capacity above, it's still, we made a high overflow that it would actually utilize some of that old pipe, and it's just amazing that it still functioned.
So one of the things that we had to talk about when we first started getting into this project, the first few times that we went out, we were working our way through the vines and brush and just a mess of weeds and vegetation in there to get to even see this brook. And at first, knowing that we didn't want to have a big disturbance and a big footprint on it, we talked about whether we could essentially sneak in there and do this. And the more we looked at it, it's all invasives. It's just pucker brush and vines, and it was not a natural woodland that we had any real value in. So we made the decision to clear it, and we used Bartlett tree. And one of the things that you'll see throughout here is that we have on-call contracts with a lot of our local contractors. Not only do they provide us really good pricing, but they work hand in glove with our staff. So we had Bartlett out there doing what I call the dangerous work, getting the trees down. We then went out there with the highway department staff and our chippers, once it was down and safe, made it disappear. Kevin, you want to talk a little bit about the site work and who's doing this?
This is Simscroft, and they obviously have the horses to do this type of project. One of our first things we had to do was locate the existing sanitary sewer and get elevations on that to make sure that we weren't going to have a conflict with the 30-inch pipe. And the starting point, this is called a flared end at the very beginning, that invert elevation is what the sewer pipe elevation dictated our invert elevation here, so we could get safely underneath it and maintain about 1.5 foot of cover separation between the two, and that was critical. And I hats off to the crew that did it. It went, we gave them.
Are we underneath the sanitary?
Yes.
So the sanitary goes across as like a lateral almost across that land bridge.
Yep.
And then this snake's underneath it.
Exactly. And when you start at the beginning of this flared end, you have to know where you're coming out on the other side, and you have to know exactly where that sanitary sewer is going to go. Once they start laying the pipe on a set slope and elevation, we don't want to change that. So a lot of thought went into this before they got going, and we had a lot of questions to ask where did we want the inlet of the pipe to be to make sure we wouldn't change the elevation of the water course coming in. So, a little bit of math. This is the shot just for you, Chris. This is kind of the end result that you said you liked. But a big thing that we did is really tried to leave it much better than we found. We installed the fencing. We actually worked with the Udolph Properties for the installation of the stockade fence. At that time, getting the fence was difficult. We actually bought the posts from one vendor and the panels from another to be able to get it out there on time.
And the drop off that you're talking about that you like, we basically maintained the natural water course that was there. And we cleaned up some of the sediment that was from years of putting sand and salt on the roads. We cleaned that to make it so we had a smooth transition all the way down, but maintain the swagger.
And this is my favorite part of the whole project, but I'm going to let Kevin tell you about it.
So those of you who've been out to our facility on Town Forest, there's trees. So we went and took our excavator and we plucked some trees from the bank, and the trees that you see on the flats, the easternmost portion of it, westernmost portion I should say, are trees that came from our facility, and we're doing everything we can. We're going to fertilize them this spring. It's cheap insurance to make sure that they survive and are happy, healthy trees moving forward.
There were some doubters, but I bet coffee bet against anybody who wanted it that they were gonna last. And we supplemented it with a couple of nicer trees from Mark Roderick and his nursery, and a couple others from a different nursery, just to make sure we had a variety in there and something that would be appropriate for the site. You kind of see the end result as it stands today. Right now, we went by it today. The grass is just starting to germinate. The first couple years, 2 to 3 years, we're going to hopefully mow this to keep the invasives from coming back. And once we've rooted out all of the invasives, we're going to work on having this be a pollinator area. It was pretty neat. A couple days ago, on one of the warm days, actually, people were enjoying it like a park. So it was really great. And again, Roderick Construction, the work they did on the raking and seeding was under an on-call contract that we had with them. So.
Nice.
Good to use local contracting.
And not only is it cheaper, they literally work right in line with our staff. So if we want to supplement their crew with our crew, everybody has worked together in the past, and it just really, it's a real benefit.
It's really just a labor only. We burden the cost for all the materials, so there's no markup. We rounded up getting the pipe wasn't easy, but we were able to do that and expedite some things. So it's really a benefit to the town to have these local contractors on board, and when they saw the problem, they responded quickly. It was great.
I think kind of some of the most important numbers. It's great. Most of these are 4 digits. There's 1 5-digit in there, but when you saw the size of the equipment that was used for the site work, it certainly was justified. Actual out-of-pocket expense right now, $46,000. Ballpark cost of the town labor that we put in, about $26,000. But I think in the end, we have a product that could have easily been double that. Mm-hmm. And really proud of the way it came out. Certainly moved fast. I know once in a while people like to make comments about town government, but we're talking 8 weeks from the time we came across this challenge to the point that it was done. And going through appropriate approvals and everything else. I really think it's a testament to what Simsbury does as a whole. Nobody does anything by themselves. We were part of a big team with everybody involved. And it's always nice to come here and tell nice stories.
Sandy.
Very good.
Thank you.
It's really
Very
well
creative.
I guess I would just say, I think this is a great example. Chris, you mentioned something like this a few weeks ago during our budget discussions, but this is where when you are able to do a project and save us so much money, those are expenses that never get reflected in our budget because we didn't incur them because of the outstanding management and being able to get it done timely and use local resources and be creative about it and get it done. So that's a savings that we as a town realize that is hard to see, reflected anywhere but in your presentation. And
yeah, and this one was nice because it was at a corner that was very visible. Some of these problems occur off in the woods.
That's why I liked. The fact that's one of the most. You've got people as skilled as Kevin in his background Not that you're not skilled, Tom, okay, but I mean, there's also, I imagine, a certain level of pride that comes along with this versus the things that you do every day require skill and engineering, but they're on a schedule and they're likely repetitive. This is something sort of out of the ordinary, and it showcases the level of talent that we have.
No, and I think something that you'll hear all of the guys saying, something Kevin says a lot is, when we're done with a job, make it look like something. Take the extra time. Let's leave it better than we found it. And it's tricky. Some of it's subjective. We wrestle sometimes with some of the ideas, what's going to work better. And this was a challenging project, certainly, but really came out well.
I have to say that I'm impressed with the resourcefulness of you guys, that you just, you know who to pull, who's out there to get whatever you need done.
Yeah, I like to reinforce something that Chris said. From top to bottom, the Public Works Department has so much talent, and it truly goes on. I'm not going to say it goes unnoticed, but the guys that are really doing the boots on the ground guys have a lot of talent, and I'm proud of the work we do, and obviously proud of this project.
That's great.
Yeah, this is really great, and I'm glad you got a chance to showcase it here. And again, I think it might create some good problems, and then we're going to look for some more fun ones for you guys to do.
On that note, I know it's probably spring cleanup, but the recently finished trailhead for Town Forest to the the West Street and Bushy Hill there, the landscape tarping is coming up, and it looks. It's a little bit of an eyesore. It's something that was just so recently done. So, if you put a couple eyes on that.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there stuck in the morning at the high school traffic light, Heather, as you know, waiting to drop off.
Yes.
What's the name of your street, Longview? If you could park a plow truck at the end of Longview.
Kevin knows where my house is. Don't worry.
So if you can't get out, that would be appreciated, actually. So.
Chris, you got to do better than that. That's just little wood chips and that stuff. That's an
Thank
easy
you,
fix.
guys.
You sound like my wife. That's just, you can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to
Oh.
my appreciation for even finding a way to be pollinators into this and consulting with the Simsbury Pollinator Pathway group for future opportunities there.
Marjorie was out on site. We made sure even to make sure her and some of the other stakeholders were involved before we cut the trees, just to make sure everybody understood what was, we don't cut trees without giving it some thought.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Okay, I'm going to move on to the town manager's report for April 6th. I've already recognized Autism Awareness Month. I did want to talk about the long haul of the budget that seems to be winding down tonight and on May 3rd. Last night, the Board of Finance had their budget hearing. Most of the town came out. Maria's staff was very collaborative. Susan presented for the Board of Ed. Lisa presented for the Board of Finance. The Board of Finance made some recommendations that were good. And some of the money's being used for some value in the assessor's office, which is a good way to find some more money. We had a lot of residents that came last night. They voiced some support, some concerns for various projects. And we thank everybody for coming and speaking up last night. And now it's going to referendum. I believe it's May 3rd now. We think we're pretty good with that. And I encourage you to visit the finance page, which has all the presentations and the information, and to please make sure that you vote. Another thing I wanted to emphasize tonight is that I have an open door policy that I hold office hours every week, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but sometimes I have to change those. I'm happy to hear from residents, town employees, and any business owners who would like to come talk about town projects, voice any concerns, or just come chat with me. And I'll do what I can to get them the information that you need or bring in anybody else that needs to be brought in. I've included my email here, and I'm happy to respond or call you back. We have, we're going to need help finding some hometown heroes. The committee is, well, I guess the committee's always been in place, but there's a deadline out there for April 25th, 2022. We'll be reviewing applications the first week of May. And I included a link also. It's on the town website. If you just put in hometown hero, you'll get to the page. It'll tell you what the guidelines are and how to submit an application for somebody. I am going to call out, this is my new newsworthy resident corner. I did hear from a resident, Nakul Ramaswamy. He won the 2022 Connecticut State High School Chess Championship for Simsbury High on the chess team. And it was held in Fairfield. And now he is going to represent the state of Connecticut in California this summer. Their high school team, coached by Gert Hillhorst, also took first place. And I think that's quite an accomplishment. And I did say somewhere else my knowledge of chess is the Queen's Gambit. But I'm really impressed that, we have a student like that in town. The other item I wanted to bring up is that housing conversations are going to be starting up in May. We have the Zoning Commission will be coming and presenting the ADU opt-out and having a discussion with the board on May 9th. And then we'll be having a public hearing at some point. The DEI Council has a housing presentation on May 12th in their Let's Talk series. And that was originally scheduled for next week, but it's been moved out. And then the DEI Council's Housing Subcommittee will be presenting to us on June 13th. I just want to say I hope that some of you are getting a break next week. As I hear, it's school vacation week. When your kids are 29 and 32, you lose track of the school schedule. So enjoy your time off and away from the demands of that early bus schedule. And that's my report.
All right,
Maria?
Great, thank you. Good evening. Just one quick item of note under our coronavirus update. We did have some test kits that were still available. So starting Monday of this week, residents who are interested in obtaining any COVID test kits, they can do so at the Simsbury Public Library. You can go to the desk on the sort of that upper level or the main level, however you're kind of coming in off of Library Lane. And we're providing one test kit per individual per visit. So would definitely encourage residents to take advantage of that. Under Board of Selectmen business, as Wendy mentioned, the Board of Finance did close the public hearing on the budget last night. As a result of that, the next step are some procedural motions that the Board of Selectmen typically takes in regards to adopting the operating and capital budgets, setting the referendum questions, and setting the referendum date. There's another procedural motion you typically take in regards to approving the budget mailer that will go out. So those items can be added to the agenda this evening with a 2/3 vote of the body. We were able to email those materials to you earlier this afternoon. We will make those materials available online to our residents as well. And I really want to thank Amy, Melissa, and Tom Fitzgerald for their help and turning all of those materials around so quickly so we could take care of those procedural motions at tonight's meeting as opposed to having to schedule a special meeting sometime next week for you all. Also, just quickly, the Earth Day event is coming up on Saturday, April 23rd. That's going to be a community-wide cleanup day. I've provided the link to the registration site for that event. And I do just want to quickly thank all of those who have been working so hard on coordinating that. The Public Works Department, the Parks and Recreation Department, our Deputy First Selectman, Representative Hampton, the Farmington Valley Trails Council, and Paynes, who has very kindly donated all of the receptacles for us for that event. A couple of quick items under department news and notes. Our Public Works Department, and that was all of the divisions within Public Works, they recently were recertified in CPR and AED and Advanced First Aid, which included Stop the Bleed training. This particular training is focused on life-saving measures associated with severe injuries that could certainly occur. We hope not, but could occur on work based on the type of work that staff is involved in. Also want to thank the Simsbury Ambulance Association who provided that training to our team and working in collaboration with us. So again, just really want to recognize them for that help and the department for obtaining that training for its staff. Some of you may have noticed that the Connecticut Department of Transportation did begin the bridge rehabilitation work down over near the Ensign Bickford location. So there will be truck detours and signage is out. Again, that is a state managed project. So if folks have additional questions about it, we would recommend contacting the state DOT. And also from Public Works, they have recently hired 2 new truck drivers. Corey Farron will be starting work on April 11th. He has private sector experience as well as relevant experience from the Army National Guard. And Jeffrey Krull will be starting on April 25th. Most recently, he's been serving as a maintainer in another municipality's public works department. I know Kevin and Tom and I are really excited about them joining the team and hope you'll join us in congratulating them. And from Simsbury Community and Social Services, they are going to be doing spring take-home kits for families in town where you can build your own birdhouses. So if folks are interested, you can contact Social Services. It is available on a first-come, first-served basis.
Birdhouses, not
Yeah.
not feeders, right?
Not feeders, I said feeders ahead. I hope I didn't
Let's
say
not
bird
encourage
feeders.
That's
good.
And some really great news from the Senior Center. We have been able to return to our in-person meal programs for our Tuesday lunch cafe, as well as our hot lunch on Wednesdays. Due to COVID and labor shortages and seniors being a high-risk population, that was one of our sort of last programs to really come back as we're emerging from this pandemic. So we're finding that attendance is growing by the week, and the participants are just so happy to be back. Just a quick reminder, we are wrapping up our energy assistance program. The last day to fully submit your application is actually coming up on April 28th, and social services can assist folks with that particular process. And then similarly, social services will begin helping folks with the renter's rebate program. Those applications can begin being accepted on May 1st. That typically runs through October 1st. And the contact information for social services to help with that is provided. And then just lastly, some very good news that we received this afternoon. The State Office of Historic Preservation approved both of our grant applications for the architectural and planning services related to the preservation of the Meadowwood barns. So each of those grants are $20,000 in value, so in total $40,000. Again, as I mentioned, that will be for various architectural and planning services that are going to help us prepare for the long-term preservation efforts. I really wanted to thank our engineering team, our project engineer Dan Gannon, and our retired town engineer Jeff Shea. Both of those individuals were really instrumental in preparing those applications on our behalf. So happy to share that news, and that is, like I said, hot off the presses as of this afternoon.
That's great.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it's time for the Selectmen liaison and reports, and I'm going to start with Heather because she was jumping in ahead of her time.
I was ready. Didn't want to miss it. No, I just wanted to let the public know that A Promise for Jordan has an event coming up Wednesday, April 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's in Narcan and QPR, Question, Persuade, Refer training. This is it requires pre-registration, and you can find it through their website. You can email info@apromisetojordan.org or call 860-390-1391. So that should be a great event next week. So I just wanted to let the public know.
Thank you. I forgot to include it in my first Selectmen's reports. I apologize. Do you have anything to report? No? Anybody down this end?
I actually do. We just put you on the spot, Tom. I've had scheduling conflicts the last couple of Culture Park rec. So do you want to highlight anything for the board that you think is of value to?
Yeah, and just there was a lot of excitement surrounding the inclusion of a lot of the pickleball project and some of the other initiatives. They were very happy to hear that we are doing so well with summer enrollment and wish we could do more. So that's pretty much where we're at.
And the golf course is.
And the golf course is open for the season.
It is. Someone at my house is very happy. Eric, you have anything you want to throw out today?
I do. Wendy, I appreciate you mentioning the forum by the Simsbury DEI Council around housing, but I really wanted to underline this one because there's probably no issue that we're asked so many questions about, whether it's housing or development, where there's also so many misconceptions about how it works. And this is an opportunity to talk to and hear from three people in this community who know a lot about housing and come from different perspectives, including our new planning director, George McGregor, Rich Correa, who's a commercial real estate broker, very active and familiar with Simsbury, and Ed LaMontagne, who's the former director of the Simsbury Housing Authority. The new date for that is May 12th, and it's going to be in person at 6:30 p.m. at the library. So I hope members of this board and certainly members of the public can join for that. And, I just also wanted to thank staff and of course, the state for their support of the barn projects that we're doing on Meadowwood. I know when barns come down, and there's one that came down recently along Hot Meadow, our community's collective heart breaks when we see that. And this is an opportunity to not only preserve that history, but also to teach future generations about that history. I'm very excited about it.
Thanks, Eric. Oh, Amber.
I just want to have, I just have one quick update to Maria's update about the townwide cleanup day, which we've been working on. I know we've talked a lot about, but in light of our proclamation that we did earlier tonight about autism awareness, I wanted to let people know that we have designated the Tariffville Green location to be a sensory-friendly location for this event because we want to make sure that it is inclusive and that everyone is welcome to participate. So I'm the liaison to the Aging and Disability Commission, and I'm working with them to coordinate that for this event. So if that is something that you are concerned about and would like to participate in, you can sign up for a sensory-friendly location at the Green and reach out through social services to register for that location.
Thank you. I have one more thing to bring up. Our personnel subcommittee, I'm not really sure if we're meeting in April or May, but this has come up a couple times. At our goal setting, we talked about exit interviews and questionnaires, and we're going to clarify the process at our next meeting to make sure that when people leave, they're given the opportunity, if they have anything that they want to express to the town, that they can express it and that it's factual. And this actually came up in our goals, and then Maria helped facilitate pushing it forward, that the town has a questionnaire that we will be using and improving the process a bit on that. So I just wanted to let everybody be aware that is an action that we're all participating in. And that's it. I guess we have to amend the.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Somebody want to make a motion to add? Well, should I do it?
The budget stuff?
Yeah.
I would like to amend. I move to amend our agenda to include the required procedure items for the 22-23 operating budget.
So we have an item F now?
Yes.
Okay. Can't wait for that.
Somebody's got
So do you need a second?
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
second that. I'll second that.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I don't know what's going on with me tonight. I apologize to the audience out there. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that passes.
And then could you also do one additional
Yes.
motion to add, sorry, there it is, the proposed 22-23 budget mailer.
So I move that we amend the agenda to include item G, proposed 22-23 budget mailer.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that motion passes. Thank you.
Eric, you vote no?
Come
I
on,
said
Eric.
yes.
Okay, so we did this one. Okay, I'm gonna scroll through. Okay. I feel like it's Christmas or something, the way that I feel tonight. We're on vacation next week or something.
I'm not on vacation.
I'm not.
The kids are home. It's not a vacation.
Okay.
Because it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday and we don't have a meeting for 2 weeks, so it's kind of like a break, right? Okay, so tax refund requests. I'm going to move effective April 6, 2022 to approve the presented tax refunds in the amount of $939.53 and to authorize town manager Maria Capriola to execute the town refunds.
Move
So
that.
moved.
Second.
Amber, Sean, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
that passes. The next up is the supplemental appropriations for public works equipment purchase. I will turn this over to the public works / town engineer.
All these titles. This one's actually kind of an interesting one, and it's nice night to have Kevin here. Maybe I'll bring him to all the meetings from now on out. One of the pieces of equipment that we were looking to get in this upcoming years is a replacement for our wheeled Bobcat loader. Kevin immediately started pricing it out and was told that the piece of equipment that we're looking for is going to be at least 5 to 10% more by the time summer hits due to steel increases alone. There's also availability issues. We have the ability, we were able to get 4 prices on comparable equipment right now, and we would like to purchase a piece of equipment for $80,000, which is within the allotment that we were looking for. Our current piece of equipment is going to have about a $25,000 trade-in value, so it's a very favorable price. The lowest cost piece of equipment is not on one of the government bids that we often use. So by going with a bid waiver, we'll save about $8,000. So we're asking to purchase this now in order to save money and have the availability, and the bid waiver allows us to purchase a piece of equipment that we're very comfortable with and save $8,000.
Saving a lot of money for us tonight.
It's a net 55. Based on the 25,000, we might be able to do a little bit better with regards to the trade. They need to check a couple things, but that seems like it's going to be the minimum for the trade value. And the steel increase surcharge is one thing. However, there are also manufacturing increases. That's just a crystal ball. Who knows? And it could be a year and a half before the equipment's there. These vendors, these 4 pieces of equipment are on the ground right now, and they ordered them last summer. And things have only gotten worse. I just drive by a car dealership and they will reinforce that.
So all we're doing is just accelerating the purchase.
Exactly.
From the town door fund is what we're doing.
Right.
Okay.
And it comes out, next year we won't see it in the 2020.
Exactly right.
2024
Yep.
budget. Okay.
We better not.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Okay. All right, so move effective April 6, 2022 to approve a supplemental appropriation utilizing town aid road funds for the purchase of a skid loader in the amount of $80,750 and to recommend this to the Board of Finance. Further move to approve a bid waiver for this purchase as recommended in the attached memorandum.
Move
Move
that.
it.
No, I'll second Heather.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion
Aye.
passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, you don't have to come next time. Just send Kevin. Here.
Next up is the ground lease on the Meadowwood barns. I think Tom, I'll turn it over to Maria.
I'll start, and then if we can always have Tom added. So we worked with our open space work group earlier this year, and Tom Hazel and Tom Tyberski on developing a number of model agricultural documents for our agricultural lands. Part of the Meadowwood acquisition, and this will sort of be 3 parts this evening, was we do have 6 tobacco sheds that are further into the interior of the property that are still in usable condition for tobacco. There was a farming firm that was using those barns for tobacco. You may recall when we took over acquisition of the land in late September, we did execute a temporary short-term lease with that tobacco farmer to complete use of the barns for the growing season. We do think it's in the best interest for the town to continue using those sheds and making sure that they are maintained in good condition. So the current farmer that had been using, again, the barns, this is not the land, but the barns, would like to continue to do so. They are sort of a specialty barn, if you will. And the farmer was willing to provide us a very fair and competitive price of $1,500 per year per barn, or $9,000 per year in total for use of the barns. That would go into our open space maintenance account, so we could continue to move forward with maintaining our open space and conducting repairs as needed. We would like to reestablish that lease on a 5-year term. And also, again, just given the specialty nature of the tobacco barns, we did not conduct a formal RFP and would recommend a bid waiver in this particular circumstance.
Anybody have any questions on this? No? Okay. Move effective April 6, 2022 to authorize the town manager to execute an agreement as approved to form by the town attorney with John Baggett of Northern Valley Farms, Inc. for a ground license with an initial term of 5 years and the possibility to extend by 1 year based upon satisfactory performance for the town-owned tobacco sheds barns at Meadowwood for 6 structures, and to further move to approve a bid waiver for this lease.
So moved.
Amber?
Second.
Heather second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that motion passes.
Great, thank you. The second lease, this was something we did issue an RFP for. We had developed a model RFP for our various agricultural lands that we do own in town. And again, the open space work group assisted us with developing model agricultural practices for those lands. We did issue the RFP. This particular vendor provided a reasonable responsible response to the bid. They are proposing that we would receive $300 per year per acre, or $25,800 per year in total, in order to use, it's about 86 acres of agricultural land at the Meadowwood property. This particular farmer was also previously leasing the land from the prior owner, and we did also have a short-term lease with this person when we had acquired the parcel back in September. Our recommendation is that until a point in time in which the town determines what other future uses we may want to use for those 24 acres that are currently agricultural lands associated with this property but not deed restricted, again, that it's in our best interest for that land to be farmed until that point in time. So our recommendation would be to move forward, to enter into a 5-year lease with this particular farmer. And as I mentioned previously with the barns, the funds from this would also be deposited into the open space maintenance account.
I do have a question. If for some reason there was an opportunity for those 24 acres that somebody offered to come and build something there, is this a lease that we could get out of because it's for 5 years?
Yeah, it's something that we've discussed with the town attorney in terms of having some flexibility there. If for some reason, on a much shorter term, we've determined that there's some other, active use of those 24 acres.
Okay, just making sure.
And I think we discussed this before giving it to you, presenting it to you. So.
Okay, good. Of course you did, but thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move. Anybody else have any questions? No. Move effective April 6, 2022 to authorize the town manager to execute an agreement as approved to form by the town attorney with Spencer Thrall of OJ Thrall, Inc. for a ground license with an initial term of 5 years and the possibility to extend by 1 year based upon satisfactory performance for the town-owned agricultural property at Meadowwood. Parcel is about 86.53 acres.
Move that.
Sean?
I'll second.
Amber, second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that
Aye.
passes. And there's another
There's
one
a
up
third.
there.
There's a third one. So we have a very small parcel in the Barn Door Hills area. Again, another agricultural parcel, about 5 acres. It was previously being farmed by a farmer for growing, I believe it was vegetables. That farmer decided not to continue their lease, so we did issue an RFP for this proposal as well. We did receive a proposal that would pay us for $80 per year per acre for this particular 5-acre parcel, or $400 per year in total. The previous farmer paid the town $60 per year per acre, or $300 per year. So this is a little more competitive than what the previous farmer was providing. The proposal was to farm and produce kale, forage, and other sort of similar products on this particular property.
Kale.
I like it. Antonio's going to become farm to table.
Okay, does anybody have questions,
I thought
comments?
kale was a garnish. You actually eat this stuff?
Kale?
Yeah.
My kids do.
It's disgusting.
It's a superfood.
It's disgusting.
Superfood.
It's
Okay,
what a
so
multi-level
we all,
marketing
a lot of
company-
people don't like kale up here, is just what I'm
No,
hearing.
I do.
Okay, Chris and Amber like, and Heather likes kale.
You know when you get that edible arrangement, that free stuff they give you is kale.
Oh.
Send me one, Sean.
Yeah.
I'll look for it.
Saute it up.
Just saying.
Okay, move effective April 6th, 2022 to authorize the town manager to execute an agreement as approved to form by the town attorney with Stephen Antonio for a ground license with an initial term of 5 years and the possibility to extend by 1 year based upon satisfactory performance for the town-owned agricultural property at Barn Door Hills Road East, Parcel B. It's about 5.33 acres.
Move that.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes.
Oh, Wendy, can I just add one thing I forgot to mention? So Marjorie Winters and Susan Messino are our Open Space Committee work group members, and they are just such dynamites. I mean, they really put so much work and energy into this, and we really could not have accomplished this without their help. So just wanted to make sure that we sent a quick little thank you to them.
Thank you, Susan and Marjorie. Okay, thanks for recognizing them, Maria. Now we're moving on to this item, correct?
Oh, our budget items, yes.
Right?
Yes, I'm just going to toggle to my other screen, correct.
No toggling. You're going to tee this one up?
Yes. I was going to say, this is one of Sean's favorite items, the resolutions. So this particular item is procedural. Once the Board of Finance has set the has adopted the budget, it comes back to you all, so you can set the referendum date, you can set the referendum questions, and officially forward those on. So we have prepared the motions for you in the packet. Melissa, do you want to add anything on that?
I don't, but I'm just realizing the header on those motions should say Board of Selectmen on April 6, 2022.
Good catch. Thank
They're
you.
identical to the ones the Board of Finance adopts. So I'll make that change for the record.
Thank you. So it would be starting, the resolutions and questions start on page 3.
Just read this page.
Yes, I would do a motion for each of the resolutions, so for the 3 dollar amounts listed there. And then in terms of the referendum questions, I think you can just make a motion to approve them as presented. And then you'll need to do a third motion at the bottom there to set the referendum date.
I didn't get to see this before I got here tonight, so. Okay. So, I'm losing. What?
You want me to do it?
You can do the first one if you'd like to. How's that?
Just trying to help.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know you want to.
This is the only reason I keep coming back to this board. I move. I move pursuant to section 808 of the charter, the following motions be introduced. The Board of Select meeting today of April 5th. Be it resolved that the appropriation recommended and approved by the Board of Finance for the purposes of paying the expenses of the Board of Selectmen annual budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 23 shall be approved and implemented in the amount of $30,260,354.
Oh, we're doing each one separate, correct? I'll
make that motion.
Yeah, I was gonna just.
Okay.
I'm out of context here. I'll second it.
So somebody second it, yeah.
I'll second it. Do you call? Oh, I call still. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do you want to read the next one then?
So I move the next, be it resolved that the appropriation recommended approved by the Board of Finance for the purposes of paying the expenses of the Board of Education annual budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 should be approved and implemented in the amount of $76,456,785.
So moved.
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 So I further move that be it resolved that the appropriation recommended and approved by the Board of Finance for the purposes of paying the expenses of the sewer use fund, sewage treatment plant, residential rental properties, Simsbury Farms / special programs, non-public schools, debt retirement / capital and capital non-reoccurring annual budgets for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 should be approved and implemented in the amount of $18,017,555.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I did the next one. I move that the referendum ballot reflect the questions as presented below.
Second that.
Well, I need a first, right?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 And then I make a motion to set the automatic referendum date for the budget, to move to set the date of Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 for automatic referendum pursuant to section 406 of the town charter from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Henry James Memorial School, 155 Firetown Road.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and then is the next one to approve the mailer?
Correct.
Let's do the capital resolution as well.
Thank you for catching me.
John, you probably remember better than I do, but I think you can make that resolution to waive the full reading of them, and then I believe make a resolution just to adopt the projects listed on the first page.
Yeah, that's how it's, like the full text of the set up below is waived, yeah. So, yeah, so I'll move that upon, so I'm making a motion duly made. Second and adopt the reading into the minutes of the full text of the resolution set up below is waived. Copies of the resolutions have been made available to those in attendance and recorded in these records immediately preceding these minutes.
Move that.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then we resolve that the Board of Selectmen recommends and approves the following. We don't have to,
We're done.
oh, we don't have to do that piece.
No, we just waived, so what we did is we waived all of
Reading
that.
it, so we don't have to say that we approve it.
And we waived all the bond.
Okay.
It'll all be in the minutes too.
So that's what this whole packet is.
Okay, thank you. There's a lot of paper here, and
In the old days, we used to read every single word.
really?
Wow.
Including
old
bond-
days.
Including bond language.
Okay. Next up is the budget mailer. Do we all look at the budget mailer? So we're gonna
It
move,
says no mill rate increase.
it does. Gonna move to approve the budget mailer, is that?
Yeah, so on the supplemental information we sent out this afternoon, page 30 does have a motion regarding the budget mailer.
Okay, I don't know if I have that.
Got it pulled up, maybe Heather could read it.
Move effective April 6, 2022 to approve and authorize issuance of the fiscal year 22-23 budget mailer as presented. Staff is authorized to make changes as recommended by the SEEC or town attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Heather. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so
Yay,
the
great,
budget is moving on now,
Moving
correct?
on, that's
Yes.
correct.
Nicely done.
I mean, I've,
Don't stop it. Let her go.
Come on, it's a test. I'm just actually curious. I mean, I could look in the budget. I mean, I think I looked over it in the budget book, but remember the last year there was a special use fund that was it the Eno one, the trust, but we used a couple of dollars out of to, this is when we funded the lights on the holiday lighting on Main Street. And you had found it had been set up in, I think, 1955, had been funded with initial like $3 or $5 grand. It had grown to like 18,000, and basically that was just all investment income that it had never been added back into. So what did we talk? We talked about, understanding more about its intention for the future, and I was just curious: did we ever, sort of brush up on that? It's not tonight, but I'm just curious now.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the intentions of the funds are to beautify Main Street,
Yeah.
Particularly Hot Meadow, if I recall from the will. And then, I mean, beyond that, we know what I think we were supposed to determine if it was a permanent,
Ongoing.
what the amount was in
yeah.
perpetuity and
Yeah.
how much we had
Yeah.
investment income.
Because it was overwhelming investment income because it had been just some small seed money. We didn't even know about it. But just really, do we have to chuck money back into, that's what I was curious, to chuck money back in to keep the intent so no one, or something. I don't know, you finished my or.
Yeah, we had that's right. We had looked at that a little while back, and again, because the purpose of it was for essentially downtown beautification projects, I think that in the last maybe 10 or 15 years, I think the only expenses we could find that had been charged against the fund was that very very small expense for the holiday lighting, and another very small expense for some like beautification type banners for downtown. So again, I think in the future, if we have potential downtown beautification projects, signage, streetscape, whatever that might be, we could certainly consider it. My recollection with that particular trust is I think we had to keep a balance of, was it $2,000? $5,000? We can go back and double check, but there is a small,
That's why I said
there's
that
a small
number for
amount we need to keep.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no.
So the next up is a proposed appointment to the open space. I'm just making sure I'm in the right place here. And reappointment to the Housing Authority, and to move effective April 6, 2022, to reappoint Karen Cordner as a regular member of the Open Space Committee with a term ending December 4th, 2023, and to move effective April 6th, 2022, to reappoint Mary Sandra Fleet as a regular member, the Housing Authority, with a term ending April 1st, 2027.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Then we have the minutes. And I found one change. Let's see. There are two sets of minutes here, I believe there were. Yeah, on the 28th. Under C, on the March 28th, I'd like to call out that the application would need to be submitted by May 31st, 2022. I believe it was March 31st, 2022.
Yes.
Right, so I'd like to amend the minutes to reflect March 31st, 2022. Somebody wants to move that.
I'll move that.
Okay, anybody second that?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? say
Aye.
Aye. I
Aye.
guess any other changes to the minutes? Probably not. Okay, so now we are going to get back to my agenda here. Is this moving to executive session now? So sorry. Yeah, we don't, if anybody has any comments on the communications.
They want us to come to the wedding photos, or is that?
I was gonna ask if you were gonna be invited to the wedding. Okay, so I'd like to see, make a motion, see if somebody will make a motion that we move into executive session
With
with,
Town Manager Maria
oh, yeah,
Capriola.
I don't have the.
Yeah, let's see, with myself and our assessor Francine Beland, our town attorney Bob DiCrescenzo, and deputy town manager Melissa Appleby.
Okay, yes, with those people.
I move that.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now entering executive session.